Hey everybody, I've already met with a third of the class and those meetings have been going great. It's been really neat to be able to talk to you via Zoom and those of you that have been able to come to my office here. I've got the second third of you that I'll be meeting with this week, and I'll be sending out some meeting reminders about that along with the link to Zoom. If you do find that you want to meet here in my office with me in person, that is completely fine. Just shoot me an email to let me know that that's going to be the case. Otherwise, I'll just figure that we're meeting via Zoom. I did want to go over this project rubric uh, before we got too far into the semester. And I will be sending this out to you as well and attaching it in the announcement. There's a lot of different criteria on this rubric, but basically it's a bigger rubric that kind of explains your final project artifacts and what the expectation is when you turn those in at the end of the semester and what your final presentation is to consist of. So if you're doing an oral presentation at the end, which if you are doing a presentation outside of Rexburg, then you are doing an oral presentation. If you're going to be at the Research and Creative Works Conference, you have a choice between an oral presentation or a poster presentation. An oral presentation needs to be about 15 minutes. And you'll see that down here in the final presentation criteria. So it talks about the audience, that the student is presenting to an interested and invested audience. Talks about the delivery, the content, visual aids, and the expertise down here. So that'll give you a really good idea of how your presentation will be graded, and that takes into account both the poster presentation and the oral presentation. And at the top, it has your final project artifacts, and I always like to make it known at the beginning of the semester, you need to be thinking about what artifacts you're going to be turning in as a reflection of what you've done throughout the semester. So what's going to really reflect the 50 hours that you've done. A lot of times that's going to be like a 30-page paper for some of you. For some of you, it's going to be like a website or some other sort of event that you've organized. It just really depends on your project. But you should have artifacts that are a reflection of your work. As an example, somebody last semester did a job shadowing experience, and you might think, well, what project artifacts could you turn in with that? But what she did was she blogged about the experience, and that really helped to show, and took pictures of it, and that really helped to show exactly what she had done. So we've got interdisciplinarity up here. You'll be reading about that more in week 4 or 5. This one just makes it clear that you're using multiple disciplines with your project. Okay, so that one will make a little bit more sense after the interdisciplinarity reading. That your goals are authentic to your disciplines, that you go through a specific process for achieving your goals, and that the organizations of your artifacts are put in a way that I can easily understand them and tie them back to your original project proposal. Well, at that point, it'll be your revised project proposal because you do get to turn in a revised one in week 4 as well. So hopefully that's not too confusing. A couple of reminders. So I'll be sending this rubric out. A couple of other reminders. You need to meet with your mentor this week. If you haven't done so already, you'll be submitting an assignment that has to do with that, just basically checking up to make sure that you've met with your mentor and kind of asks what you talked about in that meeting. And let me just go to the week really quickly to look it over with you really quick. So in week 3, you've got your reading of chapters 7 and 9, sorry. And then you've got your Gantt chart. So last week you did your work breakdown structure. That should kind of get you on your way to completing your Gantt chart. And the Gantt chart, you're going to take a lot of those things that those different steps from your work breakdown structure, and you're going to assign times to those. Just make sure that you use professional format when you create your Gantt chart, and that you assign times to those things that truly are what you think that they're going to be, because that Gantt chart will be helpful to you throughout your project. Here's your mentor meeting report. That's where you submit that to me, and then you've got your weekly progress report. also that you'll turn in. I hope that you'll take advantage of conference this week, this weekend. I'm really looking forward to it. Looking forward to listening to our general leaders talk to us, specifically our prophet. Here's a quotation from Elder Holland about conference. He says, "If we teach by the Spirit and you listen by the Spirit, some one of us will touch on your circumstance, sending a personal prophetic epistle just for you." So I encourage you to watch conference and to prepare for conference. Me and my family are going to have FHE likely this week about general conference and the importance of it. So any other way that you can think about preparing you and your family for it, I know that you'll be blessed for doing that. With that, that's kind of an overview of what we're looking at for week 3. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. Again, it's been great meeting with those of you that I've gotten to meet with. It's one of the neatest parts about this online course is how much instructor-student time we get to be able to meet to talk about your project. So we'll see you again soon.